Welcome to the Coventry and Warwickshire Green Business Programme podcast. Subscribe now for more episodes. Welcome to the Green Business Podcast. I'm Jonathan Howl, Energy Advisor at Coventry City Council, and I'll be hosting today's session, which does promise to be a really interesting discussion all round. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing the Coventry Strategic Energy Partnership, which is, just for the reference of the podcast, that's shortened to the SEP. So if you hear that reference later on, that's what we're referring to. And this is the first of its kind in the UK. The SEP is a 15-year partnership between Coventry City Council and E.ON, which aims to transform how the city generates, distributes and uses energy. Now, we'll discuss the aims and objectives of the SEP a little bit later on, but in summary, the SEP aims to improve the affordability of energy, drive economic growth, provide quality jobs and skills, and deliver real community benefit. Now, for context, we're recording this on the 19th of March 2026, and there's some well-publicised geopolitical disputes in progress, which do look likely to have an impact on the UK's energy markets. So for the casual listener, this episode may give information on how we're doing things differently. For anyone from Coventry, the Coventry area, I hope it will give you an idea of the kind of work that is going on to improve lives and conditions within the city. Now, to help with the discussion today, we have not one but two special guests. We are joined by Tim Fawcett from Coventry City Council and Julie Walden from E.ON. Good morning, both. Could you please introduce yourselves and give our audience a quick overview of your respective roles, please?
Hi there, I'm Tim Fawcett. I'll start by saying I'm a really proud Coventrian. I was born here and grew up here, moved away for a long time, but then about 10 years ago, moved back here to bring my family up here. And my background is a long time in engineering consultancy, planning and delivering really big infrastructure and development projects. And then 18 months ago, I joined the Strategic Energy Partnership team, and I now lead the partnership for Coventry City Council. And so what that means, I'm involved in every aspect of the operations of the partnership, and I'm really excited to be involved in such a brilliant and exciting partnership in my home city.
Good stuff. Good morning. Good morning, Tim. Thank you for joining. And over to you, Julie.
It's hard to follow, Tim, but good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for having me on the podcast. My name is Julie Walden and I work for E.ON UK. My current role is partnership lead for our Strategic Energy Partnership, which we'll tell you about during this podcast. I've been with E.ON for 24 years during my career. That has been based at Coventry, so I know the city really well. My role is about finding and fostering key stakeholder relationships across the city that help me deliver the objectives of this partnership.
Fantastic. Thanks for the intros. And as I say, it sounds like it's going to be a really, really good discussion today. So thanks again for joining. So just to kick off then with an opening question for our audience, could you please set the scene and outline what the SEP is, please?
Sure. Yes. So let me set the scene. Let me give you the backdrop in terms of what is really happening in the UK at the moment from an energy perspective. So we are in the middle of an energy transition, and that transition has been brought about by the UK's legal commitment to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050. So this is effectively shifting from fossil fuels to renewable and low carbon energy solutions. But what I think sometimes gets lost in the narrative is that it's also about creating local, efficient, ultimately more affordable energy systems that supports energy security for our customers. So where are we right now? So power is on track to be fully decarbonised by 2035. So if you have your power from E.ON, all of that power is from renewable resources. And we've seen rapid growth in renewable energy in the UK. Our last coal-fired power station closed in 2024, and right now around half of our UK electricity comes from renewable resources. So great progress has been made there and it's continuing. But for me, I think the challenge that lies ahead is removing the UK's reliance away from gas, which effectively supplies 85% of the heat that goes into our homes. And I really want to sort of make this point clear because I think it's really important, is that currently there is no silver bullet or one size fits all to actually help us on that journey. Unlike the electricity system, there's currently no national scale infrastructure ready to replace gas directly, meaning decarbonisation for gas, which, as I said, is our primary source of heat, will need to be delivered more locally on a street by street, community by community basis. And that will take a mixture of initiatives and solutions to do that. That is a little bit about the transition. To make it even more challenging, this transitioning is happening against the backdrop of significant socio-economic challenges in Coventry, like many of our cities, which is looking into rising electricity prices, which we know are driven by global market volatility, currently geopolitical pressures, and environmental policy costs. So more households effectively are being pushed into fuel poverty. So the job is really on us to find low carbon solutions that genuinely deliver more affordable energy for Coventry businesses and residents. That's a little bit about setting the scene in terms of where we are. And I think in terms of the partnership, Coventry City Council recognise these challenges ahead in advance. And whilst they are integral to changing the city, this change can't simply be brought on alone. They need support with the investment, resource and expertise that's needed to deliver this kind of city scale change. So they were very progressive, went out to the market and sought an energy provider who could work with them to shape this journey. And after a competitive tender process, they joined forces, I'm proud to say, they joined forces with E.ON on a 15-year pioneering partnership, which we call the SEP, aiming to transform energy use in the city for the benefits of local businesses and communities and effectively the wider economy. What I think, though, for me, that sets this partnership out amongst the rest and why this partnership is special and different is that everything we do is fundamentally around 4 strategic themes. Okay, so I'll go through these themes because I think they're really important. The first is about developing more efficient, clean local energy. So we all know right now that we are subject to global political spikes in market prices. So we want to move away from that and be more energy independent. In doing so, when we bring these projects into the city, we're going to create local jobs. We're also going to work with educational institutes to develop green skills. So this energy transition that I talked about is moving at some pace, and we need to bring the green skills pace along that journey. So we're working with institutes to look at how we can develop programs to support that growth. What it will also do, which is something that I'm particularly passionate about and I'm working on behind the scenes, is support local supply chain where possible. So I'm currently working on some fantastic examples of how that's happening right now, which I can't share, but I will be sharing as soon as I can. And we're engaging with those businesses to understand how they can support not just the SET project, but also how they can support the wider E.ON activities. So some great work going on there already. The third one, which is really critical, is I said to you just before that there isn't a one size fits all. So we can't pull it off the shelf today and roll it out. We have to be innovative because we have to make these solutions more efficient, cleaner, and more affordable. So to do all those things, we're going to need to use innovation. And as Coventry is rich in history when it comes to innovation, and I'm giving you some really great examples of some of those innovation projects that we've rolled out already and continue to roll out in the city. And then finally, something that's really important is our local community support. So through our Community Benefit Fund, we're supporting projects like education initiatives, community centre retrofits, community growing projects to really support green deprived areas. So we are also trying to work with local communities that we serve. Tim, have I missed anything? That was quite a detailed...
You've gone through so much. It was brilliant. Maybe just to add a slight build on that from a kind of a city council perspective. So you said, and you're absolutely right, that we as a council by ourselves don't have all the resources. We don't have the capacity, the capability, or the capital to be able to kind of solve these challenges by ourselves. And that's why we needed to partner with a private sector partner, and E.ON we're so glad to have on board. And just to reiterate, and I think it came across in a lot of what you were saying, it's not just about decarbonising or trying to solve the energy transition, meet the challenges of the energy transition for us as a local authority. It's about doing it for the city. It's everyone who lives here. It's everyone that has a business here. It's everyone that works here. It's everyone that learns here. Is for the city, not just for us as a council.
Yeah, and I think as well to add to that, it's not just about cheaper energy. There's so many knock-on effects and benefits that you've wrapped around this structure, which will help benefit the city as a whole, as you just said, Tim. So lovely. That was a wonderful explanation, Julie. So thank you very much. Just to move on then to a bit of a wider context, I'm quite curious on this. Is Coventry unique in having the SEP, or is this something that's been replicated at other councils around the country out of interest?
So at the moment, we are relatively unique. So there are other energy partnerships in place. So Bristol is the one that kind of has is the most well known. But the Bristol partnership's been set up in a very different way to the Coventry partnership. The Bristol partnership, as a local authority, said these are the things we want to deliver. We want to retrofit this many homes. We want to deliver this many kilometres of district heat network pipes, etc. In Coventry, we took a very different view. We said, well, actually, a true partnership is about working together to define what we collectively want to do. So we set some long-term objectives, but then together with E.ON, we have worked together to work out how to deliver that. And what's really interesting now is that after the Coventry step has been in place for about 2.5 years, and the Bristol partnership a little bit longer than that, lots and lots of other local authorities are starting to look at how they do it. And quite a lot this year, we're expecting to actually kind of go out to procurement for something like might look a bit like this. So we get lots of local authorities coming to us and asking for us for advice. The thing that really excites me about this, one of the things that really excites me about it is it's such a long-term partnership, 15 years, and actually there's an option to extend it longer than that. It means we can think really differently. We can think really long-term.
But your phone is red hot then with other local authorities getting in touch to sort of see how it works, and maybe this will stimulate some more interest. This podcast when it hits the public realm.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, just in terms of the obviously budgets are key at the moment, as always. Could I ask, how's it funded? Could you break down how it's funded, perhaps, and give us an idea about the governance behind the actual programme, please?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with the kind of how it works, and then I'll come to the funding towards the end, maybe. Yeah. So there is a contract between E.ON and Coventry, and that sets out kind of the rules of the game, as it were, and the commitments that each party makes to each other. But what that contract doesn't have is we as Coventry City Council are going to give you, E.ON, all these projects and all this money. Basically, everything that comes through it has to follow the rules of the game and is judged on its own merits. So for every project that comes through the partnership, whether that's something that the City Council's come up with an idea for, E.ON has, a third party has, or something that we've collaborated on, there's a series of gateways. And at each of those gateways, we have to demonstrate how we're contributing to the strategic objectives of the partnership, which Julie kind of set out in her initial answer to the initial question, and consider risks, demonstrate value for money, all the things we'd normally have to do in public sector procurement. So then the decisions on the gateway are approved by a joint board. So there's an equal representation on the board from Coventry City Council and E.ON, and really senior representatives from each organisation on that board. And then on top of that, there's also democratic accountability. So we are obviously a local authority. We have to have democratic oversight and accountability. And so we report to the City Council Cabinet. And just Tuesday this week, we went to the City Council Shareholder Committee, which basically approved our annual business plan for the next financial year. In terms of funding, there's a core team of people, the programme team, both within the City Council and E.ON, and that's funded as an overhead by each organisation. But then for each project, and this is one of the things that is really great about the partnership, is it's really flexible. So every project is judged on its own merits. Sometimes it can be fully grant funded, some things may be fully E.ON funded, some things may be third party funded. But ultimately, as we grow as a partnership and start to do bigger and more complex things, we're going to have to take a blended approach, and that's something that's going to be really exciting to get into as we go into the next couple of years, how we can develop innovative commercial models to sit alongside innovative technical solutions. But ultimately, we're always making sure that as a public sector body, we're doing things that demonstrate value for money, best return to any investment by the taxpayer, but also trying to leverage in as much private sector funding as possible.
Good stuff. Fantastic. I think that was really key to outline how it's all funded and how it's sort of all governed. So fantastic. Thank you very much. So I think we've had a good overview and a good sort of set the scene for the first part of the podcast. Let's go on then to some examples. I personally love my case studies and love examples and how things go together. Could you both perhaps give me some good examples of maybe small and large scale examples of what work you've done over the last couple of years and what you've got in the pipeline moving forward?
So I think over the term of the partnership, we've signed around 30 projects, which vary in size, and we have a really strong pipeline of new projects coming through. But just to pull out a few examples, let's start off with one we're particularly proud of, which is helping residents in the city. This is the affordability trial. And this trial has come about because a number of homes, around 70% of homes within the city, have really poor efficiency because those properties date pre-wartime. So effectively, that means that those users use more energy, which can compound fuel poverty. So we wanted to understand how we can support customers in this space. So the affordability trial was, or the key elements of that were all around looking at the customer's debt journey. What can we do to support customers coming out of reoccurring debt? So we did a debt write-off. The second main feature was around looking at the white goods within the property and replacing them with more efficient goods using less energy. Then we went into looking at the energy efficiency measures within the home. So we looked at insulation, solar. Then in some cases, we were able to install a battery, which we then included a time of use tariff. So effectively, we could charge when off peak and then use that energy during peak. So again, reducing energy costs for customers. That trial was rolled out to 20 residents within Coventry, and we saw some great savings depending on property size. I think that was around between £300 and £400 a year off total energy costs. But we want to go further than that. And we're doing so right now. We're working with a housing association partner in the city to look at how we can do another 100 of these trials by using more efficient battery installations. So that's something that we're currently rolling out now and we're very proud of.
Yeah, no, that was such a great trial, and we're excited it's expanded. It won a couple of awards, and government have used it as a case study in one of their publications last year. So it's really starting to get some attention and traction. And then other things we're doing in for people in homes, living in homes in Coventry, is in the Hillfields and Lower and Upper Stoke areas. We're also deploying our devolved retrofit grant funding, and we've got funding to help improve the energy efficiency of over 220 homes in those areas. So we're currently speaking to people in those areas to try and get people into that scheme. Seems too good to be true, getting your free stuff in your house to make it cost less to run, but yeah, it's not too good to be true, it really. And then so that's kind of for homes. And then let me talk about a few things around solar. We've just finished in the last couple of weeks installing loads of solar panels on multiple buildings at Sydney Stringer and Coventry College, both in the south part of Hillfields. Between those two organisations, that's going to save them about £90,000 a year off their energy bills. It's a really significant saving. It just kind of goes to demonstrate how much money you can save if you start to think about renewable energy on your own building. We're looking to kind of scale that. So this year we're starting a new program looking to help all schools in the city save money on their energy bills. So initially putting on solar, but then seeing what else we can do as time goes by. We're aiming to get solar panels on about 15 schools by March 2027, and then beyond there, scale it up to all maintained schools in the city. But then using the technical and commercial models we've built through delivering that, scale that across the wider public estate and ultimately businesses in the city as well. And alongside the schools thing we're doing this year as well, we're offering education resources and materials to all schools in the city, covering things like renewable energy and pathways into green careers. So really trying to spread the word and help people understand this really rapidly changing area of the economy. And then stepping up in scale again, one of our biggest projects at the moment is a solar farm at Lentons Lane, right in the north part of the Coventry, just north of the M6. We got planning consent for that from Coventry City Council in December last year, and we're hoping to get consent from Rugby Borough Council really soon. But when that's built, that will generate enough power for over 4,000 homes in the city. Wow, and that is amazing, isn't it? And that clean local energy will lead to much greater independence, energy security. So as we've said a couple of times, it's becoming even more important where geopolitics becomes more unstable, and events like the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the ongoing situation in Iran, we've seen it and we all feel it in our pockets. It leads to really rapidly increasing energy costs for homes and businesses, as well as the public sector, right? So as well as councils and hospitals and things. So this type of scheme helps us by generating clean energy locally that we're in control of. It really helps protect ourselves as a city, as people living in the city, as businesses in the city, against those global events which are just completely beyond our control. Yeah, so they're the things we've got going on and got coming up. But I think, Julie, we've got some even more exciting things we're trying to bring soon as well, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. So another area that we're looking at, so we talked about the affordability trial and how that was going to be supporting the kind of residential space. This year, we really want to look more closely at how we can work with our 15,000 businesses across the city. We need to look at how we can pool and raise funding and pilot new tech, and that will be through various SME trials that we'll need to run across the city. Another one I'm very passionate about is around local energy systems. So Tim's already touched on there that, you know, there is solar development, and there's no doubt that solar will be the most significant renewable source to support the city, as wind is definitely not viable in built up areas. But other major project that we're reviewing currently is utilising existing industrial roof space for large solar installation. So Coventry is rich in manufacturing and has significant unused roof space. So we're considering how we can create a model that takes the excess power generated from these spaces and supplies local businesses and communities. So really looking forward to working on that in the coming year. And the last one I want to mention actually is our partnership, our sustainability partnership with Coventry Building Society Arena. So if, like me, you are a Sky Blues supporter, and we're going to go up this season, by the way, it's absolutely a question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you will have seen that last year we entered into a 3-year sustainability partnership with the Coventry Building Society Arena, and that is helping them deliver their sustainability journey. So work is going on there, which is a really great partnership. So that's just a few examples of some of the things that we've been working on.
Fantastic. Look, there's obviously so much going on, and from an energy advisor perspective, that is my day role. I literally talk about the benefits of solar with businesses sort of day in, day out. Basically, it's really good to hear there's a big driver on that to reduce energy costs. Could I just ask Tim a question for yourself, looping back? I'm interested in the other add-on bits, which is the social benefits and the jobs and skills bits. Could you perhaps just expand on the jobs and skills element that you mentioned earlier on, sort of give some idea of the take up on that? Because I think that is so important to help drive this moving forward. Have you got some facts and figures maybe to expand on that a little bit more, please?
I've got loads, but first of all, play up Sky Blues.
Absolutely. Good to hear. Yeah.
So absolutely. So jobs and skills is one of the strategic themes of the partnership. So here I'm going to start firing some stats at you, and this is from the first 2.5 years. So these is really only a foundation. We're looking to really grow from here. So in the first 2.5 years, we've created 14 jobs in the city, including 8 apprenticeships, and that really is a start. So Julie's already mentioned local supply chains. As part of that schools project that I was talking about earlier, we are absolutely focused on making sure local supply chains are delivering every element of that they can. So that's from scaffolding and fencing and things, but also electricians and installers for solar panels, that kind of stuff. We have started to build a really good ecosystem, and we really want to hear from people that think they can add into that. Here's a few more stats as well. So in the first 2.5 years, we've impacted around 250 homes, including retrofitting 73 homes. As I said earlier, we've got funding for another 220 through government grant. We've installed 48 electric vehicle chargers. We've installed 3,500 kilowatts of renewable generation, and again, that's only the start, because Lensley Solar Farm will blow that out of the water. But so what? Those are nice stats, but what does it really mean? So there's 500 tons of carbon emissions been avoided every year from what we've done so far, and that's only going to grow. So far as a partnership, we have committed over £1.6 million in community benefit, and that is only going to grow. And to give some examples of some of the things that's kind of led to, for example, is we've engaged with 1,700 school children across the city across the first 2.5 years. That's only going to grow because of the stuff I was talking about with schools earlier on. Later this year, we plan to stick 8,000 trees in the eastern part of the city. Loads and loads of stuff going on. And I started off this answer by saying, actually, this is only the start. We're really on a growth trajectory. So we haven't talked about money too much today, but let me give you some figures just to illustrate the kind of growth trajectory we're on. So in the current financial year, 25-26, we have invested around £4 million. In the coming financial year, 26-27, that's going to grow to around £10 million. And just for the projects we have already got planned in 27-28, that's going to grow to over £20 million. And we know it's going to grow more than there because more projects are going to come on. So those kind of figures I've talked around jobs and carbon savings, the number of homes we've helped, the number of school children we've engaged with, and the millions of pounds of community benefit we've committed, that's only going to grow. So we've done some great stuff so far, but it really is only the start.
Excellent. So this is the benefit of doing it long term, but by the sounds of it. Brilliant. Okay. And I suppose then moving forward, it'd be nice to have another one of these podcasts booked in for a couple of years' time to sort of see where we are in the next few financial years. So thanks for outlining the stats. I think that's important to sort of show what targets we've got and then how things are growing. So just to sort of start to wrap up the conversation then, because we've talked in great detail about the benefits of the economy and local residents and local social skills and so on. Let's just say that I'm a local person, but let's say I'm a local business or I'm a local resident, and I want to engage more with the SEP. I want to learn more and perhaps influence decision making. Basically, is there a way that I can get involved, and is a sort of facility for me to reach out and engage with yourselves in more detail moving forward?
Oh, yes, 100%. And this is a plug for those listening. Please participate. So for the SEP to truly succeed, local engagement is absolutely critical from residents and businesses. We cannot deliver what we're looking to deliver without that engagement. And the reason why that's so important is because the way that we think and use energy is going to change in the near future, and that's going to require a mindset change from us all. We're going to go, and the way that's going to change is we're going to go from passively switching the light switch on to effectively becoming a prosumer. So rather than just consuming the energy, in some cases where we have batteries and solar panels, we could sell it back to the grid, or customers can be incentivized to change their usage of energy to at times when energy is more cost effective. There's also going to be AI-powered homes, automated smart home systems that adjust energy uses based on price. So all that it's a significant change. But the way that we meet that change is to develop innovative, affordable solutions that are suitable to each customer. So to do this, the only way that we can do this is to trial and test these solutions with you. So if anything that you've heard today has sounded interesting in any way, and you'd like to know how to get involved, please can you stay on and follow the link on this site, on this webpage, and please get in touch. That's my plug.
Fantastic. No, good plug. So if anyone out there would like to get more involved, then please reach out. I am just starting to wrap things up now, guys. So is there anything you would like to add to the end of the conversation, Tim, or have you talked yourself out for this morning?
I could talk about it for hours, so I won't add anything else. But yeah, as Julie said, we really want to talk to people. Let us know if you've got any ideas or any questions through the links that will be in the description of the podcast. And I'm really excited to see where the partnership goes. We've done some great stuff so far. I've been involved for 18 months. I'm really looking forward to see what new things come through. And actually, government policy and funding is changing as well, which is going to allow us to do even more quickly. So yeah, really exciting time, really exciting place to be, and Coventry is leading the way.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. So fantastic. So look, thank you both for joining today. I found that really interesting, and I'm sure our audience will as well. And it's really good that you've given such great examples of what hard work you're all doing. So look, just for our audience, if this session has been of interest today, then firstly, have a listen to two of our other sister podcasts we've got running at the moment. We've done another podcast on the green economy, which is a bit of a wider scope, and then a separate podcast on green skills, which does link in nicely to this session. So if they're of interest, go onto our website and have a listen to those two. And we've also alluded to a couple of links in the last couple of discussions about how you reach out to us. We will put all of the relevant links in the podcast description for you. If that sounds of interest, jump on those and have a look through and get in touch to engage further. And then finally, from me, regular listeners will know that I work for what's called the BEES program, which stands for Business Energy Advice Service, and that's all about energy efficiency for businesses. I can help provide you with an energy audit to help identify where you're being inefficient, and we also have grant funding for various improvement measures. The program is ending in the next couple of weeks, so it's wrapping up for the moment, but we are trying to secure more funding for the next financial year. So if that sounds of interest and you want to see what we've got moving forward on that, again, that link will be in the podcast description for you to listen to or you to look at moving forward. So lovely. Thanks again to our guest today. I'm Jonathan Howl. Thanks for listening.